Oedipus Rex, by Sophocles. In the ancient city of Thebes, the sun hung low, casting long shadows over the marketplace where citizens whispered of a plague that ravaged their homes. The air was thick with the scent of burning herbs, offerings to appease the gods who seemed to have forsaken them. At the heart of the city, the palace of King Oedipus stood, its marble columns gleaming under the fading light. Oedipus, a man of sharp intellect and unyielding resolve, had once saved Thebes from the riddle of the Sphinx, earning him the crown and the hand of Queen Jocasta, widow of the slain King Laius. But now, as sickness and death gripped the city, the people turned to him again, their savior, to deliver them from ruin. Oedipus stood before the altar, his broad shoulders squared as a priest of Zeus led a procession of suppliants, old men, youths, and children, bearing olive branches wrapped in wool. Their voices rose in a chorus of despair, pleading for salvation. "Oedipus, greatest of men," the priest intoned, "the gods have turned their faces from us. The crops wither, women die in childbirth, and the plague spares none. You solved the Sphinx's riddle, now save us again." Oedipus's heart stirred with compassion and duty. He had already sent his brother-in-law, Creon, to the oracle at Delphi to seek Apollo's guidance. "Fear not," he declared, his voice steady. "I will not rest until Thebes is free. Creon will return with answers, and I swear by the gods, I will do whatever is required." As the crowd dispersed, Creon approached, his face etched with unease. Thebes' nobles gathered, and Oedipus pressed him for the oracle's words. Creon hesitated, glancing at the onlookers, but Oedipus insisted, "Speak plainly for all to hear." Creon's voice was low but clear. "The god Apollo commands us to drive out a pollution from the land, a man who shed the blood of King Laius and remains among us unpunished." Oedipus's brow furrowed. Laius, the king before him, had been murdered years ago on a desolate road, his killer unknown. "Who is this man?" Oedipus demanded. Creon shook his head. "The oracle names no one, only that the murderer must be found and exiled or killed to lift the curse." Oedipus's resolve hardened. He proclaimed to the people of Thebes that he would uncover the truth. "As if Laius were my own father, I will hunt this killer," he vowed. "Whoever he is, he shall face banishment or death. And if any man knows the truth and remains silent, let him be cursed, shunned by all." He summoned the blind prophet Tiresias, famed for his divine insight, to name the culprit. Tiresias arrived, led by a boy, his staff tapping the stone courtyard. But when Oedipus pressed him for answers, the prophet recoiled. "Let me go home," Tiresias said, his voice trembling. "Some truths are better left buried." Oedipus, his temper flaring, accused the old man of withholding knowledge, perhaps even conspiring in the crime. Stung by the accusation, Tiresias's voice grew sharp. "You seek the killer? The killer is you, Oedipus. You are the pollution, the man who slew Laius and brought this curse upon Thebes." The words struck like a thunderbolt. The crowd gasped, and Oedipus's face darkened with rage. "Lies," he roared. "Who paid you to slander me? Creon, seeking my throne?" Tiresias stood firm, his sightless eyes seeming to pierce Oedipus's soul. "I speak what Apollo reveals. Search your own heart, Oedipus, and you will find the truth." With that, he turned and left, leaving whispers rippling through the palace. Oedipus stormed inside, his mind a whirlwind of doubt and fury. He confronted Creon, accusing him of plotting with Tiresias to usurp the throne. Creon, calm but firm, swore his loyalty. "Why would I want your crown, Oedipus? I have power without its burdens. Believe me or not, but I am no traitor." Their voices rose, echoing through the halls, until Queen Jocasta emerged, her presence commanding silence. "What madness is this?" Jocasta asked, her dark eyes searching Oedipus's face. He recounted Tiresias's accusation, his voice thick with indignation. Jocasta scoffed, her tone dismissive. "Prophets and oracles? They are not to be trusted. Long ago, an oracle foretold that Laius would be killed by his own son, a child we bore together. But that son was left to die on Mount Cithaeron, his feet pierced and bound. And Laius? He was slain by robbers at a place where 3 roads meet, far from Thebes. The prophecy was false, Oedipus. Put this from your mind." Her words soothed Oedipus, but a shadow lingered. 3 roads meet," he murmured, his voice distant. He pressed her for details. When Laius died, where and how? Jocasta described the crossroads, the king's small entourage, the bandits who struck. Oedipus's face paled. He dismissed Creon and the attendants, leaving only Jocasta. In a low voice, he began to speak. "Years ago in Corinth, where I was raised as the son of King Polybus and Queen Merope. A drunken man at a feast called me a foundling, not their true heir. Troubled, I sought the oracle at Delphi. The god's words chilled me. I was fated to kill my father and marry my mother. To escape this curse, I vowed never to return to Corinth. On my journey, at a place where three roads meet, I met a man in a chariot, old enough to be my father, with a small escort. His herald ordered me aside, but I refused. Tempers flared, and in a rage, I struck them down, the old man, his men, all but one who fled. Jocasta, what if that man was Laius? Jocasta's hands trembled, but she forced a smile. It cannot be. The survivors swore it was a band of robbers, not one man. Laius is dead, and you are not his son. Rest, my love. But Oedipus's dread grew. He summoned the survivor, a shepherd who had served Laius, to confirm the story. While awaiting the man, a messenger arrived from Corinth bearing news. King Polybus was dead of old age, and Oedipus was summoned to take his throne. Jocasta seized on the news. See, your father is dead, and you did not kill him. The oracle was wrong. But Oedipus's relief was tempered. Merope still lives, he said. The prophecy of marrying my mother haunts me. The messenger, overhearing, spoke up. Fear not, my lord. You are not the son of Polybus or Merope. I myself brought you to them as a babe, found abandoned on Mount Cithaeron, your ankles pierced and bound. Oedipus's breath caught. Who gave me to you? He demanded. The messenger hesitated. A shepherd of Laius's household. He might still live. Jocasta's face drained of color. She clutched Oedipus's arm. Stop this now, she pleaded. Ask no more, for your own sake. But Oedipus, driven by a relentless need for truth, pressed on. I must know who I am, he said, his voice resolute. The shepherd was brought before the court, an old man trembling under Oedipus's gaze. The messenger identified him as the one who had handed over the infant. Oedipus demanded answers. Where did you find the child? The shepherd, cornered, tried to evade, but under threat of torture, he broke. I did not find the child. It was given to me by Queen Jocasta. It was her son, born to her and Laius. They feared an oracle that the boy would kill his father, so they ordered him exposed on the mountain. I pitied the child and gave him to another, to be raised far from Thebes. The world seemed to collapse around Oedipus. Jocasta's cry echoed through the hall as she fled to her chambers. The truth crashed upon him like a wave. He was the son of Laius and Jocasta, the child meant to die, the man fated to kill his father and wed his mother. The prophecy had come true, not through defiance of the gods, but through his ignorance. He had slain Laius at the crossroads, married Jocasta, and fathered 4 children, Antigone, Ismene, Eteocles, and Polynices, with his own mother. Oedipus staggered, his mind unraveling. He followed Jocasta to her chambers, calling her name, but the doors were barred. Forcing them open, he found her lifeless, hanging by a noose of her own making. Her face, once radiant, was still, her eyes closed to the horror she could not escape. Oedipus wailed, his voice a raw wound, and tore the golden brooches from her gown. You eyes that saw too much, see no more, he cried, and plunged the pins into his own eyes, blood streaming down his face as he blinded himself to the world he could no longer bear. The palace filled with cries of anguish. Creon, now guardian of the throne, found Oedipus stumbling, sightless and broken. The chorus of Theban elders wept, lamenting the fall of their king, once the wisest of men, now the most wretched. Oedipus begged for exile, to be cast out as the pollution Apollo demanded. He clung to his daughters, Antigone and Ismene, weeping for the shame they would bear. What future awaits you, children of such a cursed union? He moaned. Creon, moved by pity but bound by duty, ordered Oedipus confined until the gods' will was clear. The once proud king, now a figure of ruin, was led away, his steps faltering, his voice a whisper of despair. Fate has undone me, he said. No man can escape what is written. Thebes mourned, its plague lifting as the gods' wrath was satisfied. But the cost was a king who had sought truth and found only horror, a man who had saved a city only to destroy himself. The elders spoke softly as the sun set, their words carried on the wind. Count no man happy until his life is done, for fate spares none.